Bethany. I just want to welcome you to Ministry with Coffee, and we are so glad you're here today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here and I got my coffee.
Oh, there you go. That's a good girl. Hey, listen, we're going to talk today a little bit about how you started in ministry really young, at a young age, and you've been on missions forever since I've known you, and then how you kind of stepped back for a little while. And I just want you to share why you stepped back, what kind of happened, what occurred, what did you learn during that time. We're just going to talk about those things with the listeners today. So, can you go ahead and start and kind of give us a history of that?
Sure. Thank you very much for having me, Trisha. I admire you a lot. You're inspiring. So I moved with my family to Mexico when I was about 10 and a half.
Wow.
And so I grew up there mostly. And God really started tugging on my heart in my preteen years and started a personal relationship with Him. And really just, fell in love with God and then fell in love with just the church and the mission of the church. And so at a young age, I knew I wanted to prepare for ministry and I wanted to do that with my life. And I was inspired by my grandparents, my parents, had a lot of people that to look up to. But ultimately the decision was my own. God spoke to me about it and over time. And so that's what I did. So I was involved as much as I could as a teenager, getting through school, and then when I graduated, I went, full in and loved it, and obviously made mistakes because you learn as you go, and building a church, and it was my dad had us do a lot of things, some things maybe even before our time, but I learned a lot through that, and it was an adventure. Very grateful to get to serve God with my family was is a unique blessing. But it also comes with challenges. When little by little, all of us ended up on the mission field through different paths and working together as a team, which is amazing. But also, there was a time in my life, which is recent, that I think that it probably spanned like 3 or 4 years really, but it was like I was getting worse, but couldn't really tell what it was. I started to struggle a lot with my struggle tendencies are like control, pride, codependency, all this I learned in the last couple of years. But I started having some unhealthy patterns and, in ministry, it started causing tension. I started having tension with my leaders, my team, but it was really more within the family. So, but like I said, we were on ministry together, so it's kind of hard because you can't separate the two. You see your family in ministry, and then you go home or you want to spend time with family, and it was causing a lot of stress. But I was getting in a really unhealthy place. I was getting to where the anger was getting quicker and faster and, like, it just harder and, on edge, and, certain things in my life that I really wanted really bad in, like, my relationships with my family and loved ones and friends, just weren't working out the way I wanted, and I started getting like, feeling a lot of hurt. And I'm not saying it's anyone else's fault, it was just I had a lot of expectations and I couldn't control anything, right? So, all that to say I got into a depression. I don't know how fast, it was just over time. So I got some counseling. There's even different seasons when I would come to the States to get some help, uh,
Right.
from a church that partners with us. But as soon as I felt a little better, I'd go back because I was like, "This is
Mhm.
where I wanna be. This is where I feel called and love," and I've invested in that ministry for years, and so, you get really attached to you where you invest, unhealthily attached. I would even say a lot of that place and a lot of those people and those relationships in that ministry became an idol, which I found out later. So, going through that, I'd go back to Mexico, and then it's like I'd give it some time, and I would end up even in a worse spot. So all this came to a culmination where I some of my family members had to make a really hard decision to ask me to step, you can say fire or need you to not be this anymore. I had to stop being a leader in the church. which I was running a lot of the ministries at that time. So it was, it hit me really hard. Why? Because of all the things I already mentioned. I wasn't in a healthy place at all. So I felt like my identity was taken away from me. I felt invalidated. I felt like you didn't try to help me enough. I really wanted to get better. I'm trying everything I can. And because obviously I didn't want to be the way I was, I just couldn't get out of it. I was in a dark place of struggle, and it was deep. So when they realized that it wasn't helping me to maintain the ministry responsibilities. When that was taken away, it got worse, and so I tried to stay there for a little while and really just couldn't. It was like everywhere I go, it was a reminder of what I don't have anymore. It was awkward. People didn't really know how to talk about it. It was just, yeah, what am I doing? And I was counseled by some people that it's like walking through a torture. You're torturing yourself. So you really need to probably just get out and really just get out without a plan of return. I remember very clearly the counsel was burn the ships. So it's like don't leave and say, but I'm coming back in a year or I'm coming back whatever. No, it's like leave and just let God take care of it. And so that was the hardest decision I ever made. But but when I make a decision, I want to go like as quick as I can. So like as soon as that decision was made, I was like, okay, fine, whatever, God. I've been praying like whatever you want, wherever you want, just get me out of this mess. I just don't want to live like this anymore. And so that's what I was like, forget it, let's go, kind of mad and resentment and all the things, but I said a few goodbyes and I left as soon as I could. I wanted to be gone before Thanksgiving. I remember very clearly because I didn't want to be around family. It was really just a weird situation, hurtful situation. And so I left and packed everything up and went to Granbury. So I was in Granbury, Texas, and that's how I stepped away. It was more like I was forced or ran away. I don't even know what I just felt like it was the only thing I could do, and I was like, "Fine, God, I just really want to get better," and that's what brought me to that place of willingness where I just didn't have anything else. I had no other options in my belt to fight it. So I came to Granbury and I reconnected with counseling and I got into a recovery program called Regeneration. And that's like God, I just help me. And I mean, I guess I can pause there to see if there's any redirect there, but that's what got me to the States and disconnected from the ministry.
Wow. Okay, that's good. I love that you pulled away. I mean, I hate that that happened, but yet I think it's really healthy to think we share with other people that it's okay to kind of step back. You know, I wish it would have been more on your terms. It doesn't sound like it was kind of like, well, maybe it was on your terms. Maybe it was both of your terms. You guys talked that out and you realized that you needed to do that to go get some help. And so I'm
Mhm.
glad that you did that because I think that's really wise. And I think a lot of people do not do that in ministry. They stay. And when they stay, they just continue because they're frustrated and they're hurt. They just hurt people along the way instead of stepping back and going, hey, I need to get healthy. Something's wrong here. If I'm frustrated and it's not working, if I'm stepping on people's toes in their areas where I'm not supposed to be, then maybe I need to take a step back and take a good look and see where God is really wanting me to go. And I just think that's really healthy. I love also that you went to get help with regeneration, which is really like a 12-step program of kind
Mhm.
of going back through some trauma and some hurts of your past so that you can look at it with open eyes and actually look for your part. What can I do to change me? What can I do to make myself better? I think what people don't understand, I started Al Anon when I was 18 because it's a 12-step program. It's a program for family members that are married to someone that has addictions
Mm.
or a family member with addictions. And I started going because I was married to a person that had tons of addictions at that time. No longer
Mhm.
married to him, but I was. And
Mhm.
during that time, the thing that I learned the most, the one thing that I heard over and over and over is, Trisha, you need to put down the magnifying glass and pick up a mirror and look at yourself. I could never, they taught me that I couldn't change people, places, and things, but I could change me. I could
Mhm.
ask God to change me. And so
Mhm.
what you were asking is the correct thing to ask. God, change me. So let's talk about that. What
Yeah.
did you see after you started examining yourself and you started saying, God, change me? What happened?
Yeah. And I will say, I mean, taking responsibility for myself was a big thing, and I was hurting people. Like there's a
Mhm.
saying, hurt people hurt people. Well, I felt hurt, but I was hurting people. And people tried to help me as much as they can, but people don't know what to do all the time. And honestly, I
Mhm.
just I needed a different kind of help, or I feel like I had to get to a place, even though I thought I was already in a place of surrender because I prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed
Mhm.
and said those words and cried those tears and cried out. There was, I don't know like where I needed to get, but it was like a literal like anything, whatever, wherever, if I have to let go of the things I love most. And it was really hard. I mean, like that's in that process is where I really found out through regeneration that strongholds really exist.
Oh, they do.
Because they actually feel like a stronghold. I really felt there was things that wrapped around and tightened my heart, and it was impossible for me to do anything about it. And so it was I couldn't make certain decisions. Even though I would say the words and pray the prayers, it felt I could not. So it was just that place of trying to really surrender all the things that I cared about and wanted to hold on to and control and make my this is necessary for my survival, and being like, I need Jesus alone. And getting to that place, it didn't happen overnight. And regeneration helped me put words around it over time, realizing all the things that were wrong in my thought process, my lack of faith, my lack of surrender, what even to call those things that I just said, codependency, idols, all that. It was through a process of discovering what they were. A lot of things I had to work through confession and forgiveness. And it really was a process, a very hard process of working on spiritual things. And God would bring healing over time. Not as fast as I want. And I will even say to this day, I still have struggles with some of the same things. I can just kind of identify them. I know a little bit more how to pray. I have a mentor that I still talk to and call him up. I need to confess this. I'm struggling with this. It's just a different way of being approaching it. And yes, it does feel less like a stronghold. Like I feel like God did break some of that in my life through the prayers and confessions. Like he did some healing, but it wants to sometimes come back and have to like it's almost like you have to stand your ground and
Absolutely.
and and get in that place of battle. But it really is a realization that I cannot do this. It's like that I cannot be healthy by myself. I cannot stay in a place of a sound mind by myself. I cannot um overcome anything by myself. It is really just a complete dependence on God. I'm weak. It's like really realizing how weak I am, which I know the Bible talks about that. Apostle Paul talks about that, right? But it becomes a real thing. And so that's kind of where I'm at is just on the other side of regeneration, but not the other side of recovery. It's a process of a whole life and just really depending on God. And I don't want to stop depending on God and take things back into my own hands because I will fall back on my face. And part of that is like I still love my family and would have a dream of one day serving with them again, right? And I'm like, but I can't decide my future. I can't decide, God, I'm going back. No, I won't go anywhere if you don't send me anymore. That's like a fear because I tried and I can't control anything. I can't control myself. So I can't say when I'm going to go somewhere. It's really like, God, I'll go where you send me. And if you don't send me and go with me, I won't go because I don't want to get back like that. I don't want to become and that go back into that darkness again. So the best thing I can do is try to follow God the best I can because that's really the only safe place. He is my safe place. And even though it hurts, it's not easy. I'm
Mhm.
not living the life I would have mapped out for myself. It's not what I envisioned, but I do hope that God, and I have to trust that God does really have a good plan. He promises it, and it's better than what I can come up by myself. And sometimes it's hard to wrap my head around it because I don't see it. But if He loves me, and he has a good plan for me, and he wants to use every part of me. But more importantly, he wants every part of me. And that's something that's been really hard for me is I want to do things for God.
Mhm.
I want to fulfill a purpose for God. I've always had a lot of drive, but God's like, Bethany, that'll I'm gonna use you. I mean, I gave you the purpose. I gave you whatever you have. What I care is about your heart. I want it completely. And that's my true struggle. Who has
Mhm.
my whole heart? That's my bigger issue because if God has my whole heart, then he has all of me. But
Absolutely.
I can't give him just my spiritual gifts or my ministry stuff. It's like I easily get off track with that. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know if that answered the question.
It did. And I want to go back to what you said because I think it's really important. Our
Mhm.
recovery is never over. It's funny that you still talk to your mentor. My mentor at age 18 is now she's 86 and I still call her.
Yeah.
And I'm still not through with that program. That program will never leave because it's ongoing. It's an ongoing program. It never goes away. I think people need to understand that. The thing about it, it tells you that you're supposed to take a daily inventory of yourself. So that means that it never stops. It's every day. And at the end of the day, she had a practice that I always follow, and I still follow it to this day. At the end of the day, when you're sitting alone with God, God, what did I do today that I need to make an amends on?
Mm,
Who did I harm? Show me where I've made mistakes. Show me where I need to confess. I still do that today. I've been doing that since I was 18. And I think about that and that has saved my life because now I don't have the whole baggage of like, years of stuff to go through. I have just today to go through. And yeah, are the triggers still the same? Absolutely. Do I still have all those shortcomings? Yes. Do I still let, my people pleasing still pops up every once in a while? Yes. Do my need to be accepted and not rejected still pop its ugly head? Yes. I mean, so all of those things are still there, but I do love the part about saying, "Hey, he gave you that drive and he has a
mm,
purpose for it." I think the thing that I wanted to stop here for just a minute on the drive part was that I really believe that God gave us that drive. He
mm,
wants us to go out there and serve him with everything that we have. I mean, we're willing to die to do whatever it takes to give him our best. And
mhm,
I think that that comes directly from God.
mhm,
However, I've had to learn, just like you're learning, which I will continue to learn because it doesn't stop, is
mm,
that when to go and when to stop.
mm,
And, and when am I ready? And when do I, because me thinking I'm ready doesn't always match up to his ready,
mm,
and did I pass the test? Or did I fail that test and I have to retake it again? And usually those tests it's because I'm not mature enough to go to the next level. So
yeah,
I have to ask myself, am I mature enough? Did I pass the test to go to the next level? And then if I haven't, it's okay. I'm going to wait and he's going to get me to the next level when the timing is perfect.
mm.
So be encouraged.
Yeah,
You are working through that for sure.
thank you.
So after all of that, you've gone to Regen, you're on the other side now. So where are you today and how is God using you today?
Thank you. So yeah, it's almost literally like God lined things up as I was commencing, because regeneration asked to give God a year. So I was like, of course, at that point, like, yes. So as the year was concluding and I was like, okay, God, well, I'm almost done. You want me to stay in Granbury? If you want me to stay in Granbury, I will stay in Granbury. If you want to send me home, yay, or where is it? Just here I am. I really, maintaining that heart of whatever, wherever, really. And it's kind of a freeing place to be, to tell you the truth. And so didn't have any clear signs at the moment, but then I started without seeking, started talking to people. There were some ideas, but nothing like God, like, speaking or whatever. until I got a connection through a mutual pastor friend to another pastor that I didn't know. And so an interview process came after that. I honestly didn't think God was leading me in that direction, but I was like, I'm not going to say no. How can I can't, I got to hear people out. I'm saying I'm open, so I got to stay open.
Mhm.
Um, and uh, and sure enough, after the process of the conversations that led to that, going to that part of Texas and leading worship for that church and just meeting the staff, God was confirming through different things, and it was really just lined up neatly. As a matter of fact, I commenced Regen, went to a retreat called Crucible, which is intense, and but it made, but also like the whole time I was there, I was praying about this thing, if this was where I'm supposed to go. And then right after that, then it went to the church. It was really just like boom, boom, boom. And then I felt like God said, you just need to take a leap of faith. And so I did. I accepted the job, and that has brought me to East Texas, and I am serving in a church here called Stone Point, and it's just been a crazy ride. I mean, did I think I was gonna be here a year ago,
Yeah.
much less 3 years ago? No idea. I mean, from Mexico to East Texas. Not only that, but I don't know, I didn't know anybody here. So Granbury at
Mhm.
least had some people, you know what I mean? Over the
Uh-huh.
years, the relationships that were formed through a church there that has partnered with us for many, many, many years, Stonewater, which
Mhm.
you're a part of, but it's just, I have a lot of
Mhm.
people there that I know. But here's like, ta-da, no one knows you. So
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
so it's a different kind of a adventure, but that's where God has me right now.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. It's kind of cool, really, because it's a time for you to really put that faith into action, right? Of knowing that God is with you and that He's on your side and that He's with you through this whole journey. So you're really not alone. Of course, you already know that He's with you through this whole journey. But I kind of think it's a neat place, a
Mhm.
time for you to really depend on Him and for
Mhm.
Him to be your complete provider while you're there. So I love that message. And that message is a good message to send to someone that might be experiencing this very same thing that you're going through right now of, okay, it's me and God. It's me and God, and we said
Yes.
yes to this church, and we're gonna give it our best and see what the Lord does. And I cannot wait to hear and see what He does through this, Bethany.
Thank you. There's something that I've been meditating a lot recently, and that is to talk to God in the area of your need. So, like for
Mhm.
example, in this whole, and my word of the year is faith. Ha! There you go. A lot of uses so far, but the that He has provided through so many people. Some from Granbury as I left, lots from here as I came. Literally, the house I'm in now, I just have been here for a little over a week, maybe 2 weeks. Almost every piece of furniture in this house has been given. He has been providing my needs on this journey. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not used to God providing my needs like this. It's like
Mhm.
cool. And so talking to him as my provider, right? Depending on God, I need you. But also I heard someone, because I'm single, never married. Someone said, talk to God, talk to Jesus sometimes as a husband. Like certain things that
Mhm.
maybe you would lean on a husband for, like my washer dryer needs to be connected. It a few days ago. I was like, well, okay, God, I'll be patient. I'll find ways to wash clothes, but I would like that connected. And then somebody, a couple coming into the house and say, hey, we want to swing by and help you with your washer and dryer. And just stuff like
Oh.
that. And it's like, talk to God in that relationship according to what he is for you and how you need him to
Mhm.
step in. And so that has been encouraging to my faith, just in seeing how
Mhm.
Jesus has looked out for all of my needs. Like um that's been a neat experience, because I haven't been so much like this on my own, to where it's like you don't know anybody, is what, because lots of times you lean on friends and family, but when you
Mhm.
go to
Mhm.
some place that you don't have that, that's when you get to see the beauty of the church stepping up to be the church, the body of Christ. And so
Mhm.
that's like, this is really beautiful. And
Mhm.
so that's been something cool recently. And yeah, I don't know what all is going to come of this,
Mhm.
but I do know I do have fire in me again, and I'm grateful for that, because when I was going through all my mess, I didn't have that fire anymore. I mean, I didn't even have faith in God there for a while, but much less a
Mhm.
desire for anything of him or to do anything for him. So just being able to be back in a place where he's released me to serve, I'm
Mhm.
starting to have passion and fire is just the I'm grateful, and I really do want it to grow. So I want to fan the flame, and some of that's through people like you in conversations, really, just with other like-minded women. It's very life-giving.
Absolutely. I can't wait to have you back on because I think there's going to be definitely a follow-up to see what God has done during this time. Because I think you're in a really cool season. I've been in that season in the past and I love that season. It's really kind of a wilderness time and people don't understand that, but it's a wilderness where you're completely dependent on God. But in that wilderness, when you come out of it, wow, it's going to be amazing. And that's what God is doing. That's
Mm,
the cool stuff that we can't see that doesn't come out until maybe a year from now or a month from now or next week or tomorrow. We don't know when the day will come, but when it comes, it's just so incredible. And then you go, "Oh my goodness, I'm so glad I went through that." And people
mm,
don't understand you're really thankful because that was the wilderness that promoted you where you are next. And so I
mm,
believe that you're in a promotion period, that God is about to rise you up, and you're going to see great things happen from this wilderness time. So you just keep pressing in, and I'm going to have you back. And you're going to share that mountaintop experience with our listeners. You sound good?
Thank you very much. Amen. I receive it. Thank you.
Amen. Hello, friends. I just want to take a moment and thank you for joining us today with Ministry with Coffee. We're so glad that you're here. And I want to ask that if this has moved you or encouraged you, the story that you just listened to today, that you would like our page and that you would share our page with your friends and your family. Together, if we work together, we can share the gospel of Jesus throughout the world at one cup, one story at a time. Thank you again for your support. We are so glad that you have chosen to minister and partner with us. Thank you again.